My name's Grant. I'm the current first mate or right-hand man here at Fungal Forest. And one of my projects that I've been working on a lot is just making sure the air-pruned raised beds get set up, throw them together, and set up out here. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about our general design and the materials we used. And yeah, just kind of the general purpose of why we did what we did. So we have these really nice 2x8 cuts of hemlock. These are from a local mill, and these are exactly 2x8. They're not off like when you go buy lumber sometimes at your local construction supply store. So we've got 4-foot widths and 8-foot lengths, and over here we also have, these are also the same hemlock from the local mill, actual 2x4s as cross supports, 4 of them going over the middle. And then we've got this hardware cloth, which I believe is 1/4 of an inch sizing, so that the roots of the plants can grow down and they can be pruned or essentially stop growing once they hit the bottom there. And once they get the air, they don't like to grow down. So it's nice and open and porous. Then we've got on the bottom here, these are 2x2s, just cedar from the from local construction supply, as kind of a measure to seal the hardware cloth to the edge of the frame, and also to kind of make sure there's no spacings or gaps in between the hardware cloth and the frame itself, so rodents can't get in. So, and then you also notice we've got these all sitting on logs, which we cut down ourselves from right here on the property. This is a red maple, and we decided to go with 2-foot heights for all of the legs, and that's kind of a unique aspect of our design, which may not be applicable if you were replicating it yourself, unless you're growing mushrooms out of buckets, which is why we decided to do it this way. We've got roughly 16-17-inch buckets that we want to be able to fit underneath of these air-pruned raised beds, because there's going to be a nice, cool, moist microclimate here, relatively speaking, during the hot summer days, which we're hoping is going to be exactly what the mushrooms are going to want to fruit. So, it may be, if you weren't doing mushroom cultivation, then you wouldn't need to go this high. That's just kind of why we did it. We're hoping to get a nice, cool little system going with growing the tree seedlings, growing mushrooms underneath, and then also fruiting some stropharia, some more mushrooms out of these wood chip beds. So hopefully it comes together to be a pretty cool system. I'm really excited to see how it turns out this summer. So that is the general design for our air-pruned raised bed frames, and now I'm going to talk about the cages, or as I like to call them, the pioneer wagon covers for the frames. So very, very similar dimensions here. 4 feet widths, 8-foot lengths. We use 2x4s of cedar for this, and then we also have the same 1/4 inch hardware cloth to cover the top. When we use our hoop frames is PVC conduit, which does not degrade in the sun, which is important for what we're doing here. It's going to be a lot of sun on these bad boys. And then similarly to the bottom of the frames, we use 2x2s to seal in the hardware cloth, and One thing we're going to change with as we move forward in building these cages is that we're going to probably put just one full 2x2 along the lengths and the widths to make sure that this is sealed in. Once again, to make sure it's rodent proof, like the frames are built. We used some blocks on the corners for more structural integrity and also to hold the corner PVC pipes in place. So one aspect of this design that we took some time to plan out is the height of the cage itself. We decided to give ourselves a little more wiggle room and give it a few more feet just in case the plants grew tall or were neglected for a while. Wanted to make sure that they don't get too cramped out and they have plenty of space to grow. One other important part is just making sure we did some custom fitting and custom measurements and cuttings to make sure that the frames fit exactly on top of, well, the frame of the cage fits exactly with the frame of the bed itself, once again for rodent proofing. And that is what we've got so far for our air-pruned raised beds. And we have one that is pretty much ready to go and 9 more to complete.